Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in world football, with some of the richest history and one of the biggest transfer budgets. So how is it that after spending £1 billion since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club, the team is still struggling to compete at the highest level? In today's video, we are diving deep into why Manchester United consistently struggle in the transfer market, from bad signings and bloated squads to poor leadership and broken recruitment. Let's go. When Sir Alex Ferguson retired in 2013, he didn't just leave Manchester United with a winning squad. He left them a football empire that was built on discipline, identity, and long-term thinking. With him gone, every single thing unraveled. David Moyes then came in, was handed the keys to Manchester United's empire, but without a proper sporting structure in place. United lacked a clear direction, a clear focus, a clear movement into the recruitment philosophy. And when Ed Woodward stepped up to take over the transfers in 2014, he said something that absolutely still haunts Manchester United fans today. A quote, "We can do things in the transfer market that other clubs could only dream of." Even saying it out loud brings me shivers. I'm absolutely mad about the situation. But that statement alone could basically be classed as the problem, because Manchester United could spend, but spend wisely was a different case. In just 10 years, going on 15, Manchester United have had 6, going on 7 permanent managers. You get me? Each with completely different playing styles. First things first, you had David Moyes that wanted industrial players like Fellaini. You then had Louis van Gaal that preferred a possession-based control type of football. And then you moved into Jose Mourinho that went for more experience and physical signings. And then you got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that wanted young talent, which also led us to Erik ten Hag that only focused on Ajax technical style players. And now we are in the 7th permanent manager in Ruben Amorim that wants a different style of football. The result of what we are seeing is a Frankenstein squad. A squad made up of mismatched signings with none of them fully fitting a single system. And that alone is where the problem lies. United's transfer fees are usually eye-watering, something that other fan bases are crying for them to actually have in their squad. However, majority of what we have done in the past 10 years, those moves, the money we paid, absolutely are not just justifiable. First things first, you had Paul Pogba, 89 million, left Manchester United twice and had so many inconsistent performances. One thing I also have to add in that situation is that the squad was just never built for Paul Pogba. Second, you have Harry Maguire, £80 million, who basically currently, I believe, holds the world record fee for a defender. Then in recent times, you had Jadon Sancho, £73 million, sidelined because of poor form and off-field drama. And today, Manchester United are currently looking for a way to get rid of Jadon Sancho. And last but not the least, the one that hurts a lot of people the most, Antony, £86 million, 1 goal in the Premier League season last season. Just about this is making my blood boil. It is absolutely troubling that we have spent this amount of money without any return in investment. It is usually not just about the money. It's the lack of return in investment that is causing me to be this heated over this situation. Until recently, Manchester United did not even have a sporting director. We just did not. While the likes of Manchester City had Bergsten, Liverpool had Michael Edwards. I can go on and on about elite clubs having sporting directors who are truly focused on making smart, data-driven transfers. But United had the likes of commercial executive that worked for Chase or that worked for whoever, in the likes of Ed Woodward and Matt Judge, to identify players. That's where the problem started. That's where the problem kept on for literally 4 to 5, 6 years. This led to panic buys, short-term deals, and transfers that were more driven for ticket sales and shirt sales than what the team needed. And now we continue to think about, and as we go through the entirety of this disgrace, that you hear the likes of Louis van Gaal continue to say that Manchester United is a commercial club and not a football club. That's what those things has absolutely stained Manchester United. Another major issue that we are finding today is the agent influence and no exit strategy from the players that we bring into the club. Of course, in the past, rest in peace Mino Raiola, but his influence absolutely clouded Manchester United's dressing room. He had clients like Paul Pogba, who was absolutely the biggest player in the dressing room. And that alone created such a tension within the squad and within the dressing room. Plus, we just couldn't create, nor could we actually utilize an exit strategy for players like Antony Martial, currently the likes of Lindelof, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Antony, players that have so much in wages, and just have no way to actually play for another club except they take a pay cut, which is usually not a sustainable idea for a club as elite as Manchester United. Why can't we look at our wage bill and actually behave the way Chelsea is? Chelsea are buying players left and right, but none of them, I repeat, is getting over a certain amount. It was basically rumored that Chelsea offered Jadon Sancho, that is currently making allegedly around 250,000 per week in Manchester United. They offered him 90,000 per week. That is the difference of actually understanding how to offload players. Because once your wage bill is that high and you're paying a player that amount of money, if the player is not Bruno Fernandes, you are not going to find a way to sell him. You honestly do not. It is a bloated wage bill for a dressing room that just doesn't want to play for Manchester United. But there is hope. With all the things that I just said previously, all the negatives, there is hope, because with the arrival of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS and the appointment of Omar Benrada with the promotion of Jason Wilcox, we are currently seeing Manchester United behave very smart in the transfer window. With the likes of, or the signing of, Matheus Cunha coming in on the 1st of June, might I add, that is the key thing. Very early in the transfer window, in fact, the first day of the transfer window opening, Matheus Cunha was confirmed by Manchester United. Going for the likes of Premier League proven players with the likes of Brian Mbeumo, looking for a really good value for money in Liam Delap. Now I understand that Liam Delap chose to go to Chelsea, but just that idea of Manchester United going for somebody that would not only fill that spot in that position, but also is value for money, was a really clever sign and a clever way for our strategy to move forward. Now Manchester United are in talks with the likes of Gyökeres, with the likes of Osimhen. However, this is where things will absolutely have to actually take place, because Jason Wilcox, newly promoted to the sporting director role, has absolutely his fingers in everything. But one thing that we know for sure is that Manchester United are not going to be paying the ridiculous amount of money that we paid to the likes of people that I do not want to name, because it's not about them in this video. However, Manchester United have done a lot of those things, paying a lot of money to bring players to come to Manchester United, doing panic buys and doing all of those sorts. Right now, we understand that Omar Benrada has basically spoken in our post-season tour. He basically said, we have two plans. with one without Champions League and one with Champions League. Of course, we did not get the Champions League spot after that dreadful loss against Tottenham Hotspur. But one thing is for sure, we are seeing movement with Manchester United that is giving me a lot of encouragement. It is giving me a lot of dream to actually focus on this situation. You understand? And that alone, I am happy. So why has Manchester United struggled in the transfer market? First things first, no direction after Ferguson. Managerial chaos, overspending, poor recruitment structure, and no exit plan for bad signings. But what do you think is the biggest reason behind the club's transfer failings? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Let's start the real football debate. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on your notifications so you do not miss anything when we do a deep dive here on Pillar Sports. It's been real. I love you all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.